Happy New Year. Wish you all a very happy, healthy, and prosperous 2021. Very much welcome to our very first Chinese Moms in Business Club's Queen Bee series with two amazing guests with me today. My name is Sally Meyer. I'm one of the co-founders of the Chinese Moms in Business Club, and I'm also a founder and managing director of 11K Consulting, which is a China PR agency based here in London. And today I'm very excited to have two amazing ladies joining me. One is my amazing co-host and co-founder, Xiaofeng Sutton, who is the CEO of LCN Legal, who recently won a huge award, which I will tell you later. And I also have a very, very special guest joining me today, and I will let Xiaofeng to introduce Xu Yuan later. For those who join us for the first time, really, we are a non-profit, independent organization with the goal to inspire Chinese moms or culturally Chinese moms in business to fulfill their full potential, either at work or at home. And this Queen's Bee series really started off last year when we were all stuck at home. And how do we continue our vision to continue messages to people around the world? And therefore, now come to our seventh series, and we are very happy to have our first guest of 2021 today. Without further ado, I would love to invite my co-host, Xiaofeng, to introduce our guest today. Thank you.
Thank you, Sally. Sally has very kindly introduced myself, so that saved a bit time for me. I came across Xu Yang by reading her interview with Financial Times. The title as a business graduate from a rural China and rise to a corporate high flyer. I was really moved after I read the interview. And one of the main things is really remind me of my own story. So I felt like instantly connected to her, even I never met her. And you know, the feeling of born in a small village, the only hope is study really hard to get to university and got opportunity to go abroad, and a whole new world is in front of me. So my second feeling is I got to get her to our Queen Bee interview to share her stories with the rest of our fellow Chinese moms all over the world. So here we are. And I'm very grateful, and Xu Yang has agreed to come on board and to share her story, because after all, as Sally has mentioned in the introduction, the mission of Chinese Moms in Business Club is to help all Chinese moms reach to their true potential. And the reason we're doing the Queen Bee interview is to fulfill this mission by sharing a real life Chinese mom stories. So I think today we definitely fulfill that mission. So without further ado, Xu Yang, thank you very much. I know it's very cold reaching out, but I'm so grateful for you to share your story today. Personally, I'm very excited. I'm sure all our audience are very excited to hear your story as well.
Thank you, Xiaofeng, for having me, and Sally, thank you very much for the nice introduction about the club. Obviously, you have a very noble mission, really lifting each other up as Chinese or Asian cultured moms that are struggling or trying to balance at all times for being a mom and also being a successful professional pursuing our dreams. So I think it's a really good cause. I do personally feel passionate and also resonate to the cause you're advancing. So thanks for having me.
Excellent. So, Xu Yang, as the Financial Times interview, and you are from a very little girl from rural China in Guizhou province, and to now the senior vice president, global finance and treasurer at the Kraft Heinz Company, and I know the Financial Times interview states it's the extraordinary drive. And also, obviously, a master's degree in management took you where you are now. We are very interested to know where the drive comes from and what really motivates you to actually reach to where you are now.
I think you can relate, Xiaofeng, as you were sharing some of your personal experience. At times when we were little children, I mean, the system is such that you have to work really hard to get where you are. But education really pays off. Like you, I wanted to excel at the school. That's the only dream. That's the only objective. That's very singular. And then once every step, right? If you always want to do the best that you can, always, and then you find at a certain point in time the world is opening. So I remember the first time I took a flight when I was 21. I was the very first time I ride on a plane, I was very nervous, was going to France because I had a master's degree offer that from France, and I was going with a full scholarship. Then from then on, I find actually, if every step along the way, if you always do your best, if you want to strive to want to be the best, then the sky is truly unlimited.
Wow.
Definitely. I think that's where the ambition of wanting to be the best, I think that's applied to whether you're entrepreneurs, whether you are in a particular field, because, you know, for artists and everyone in the field, that ambition of being the best is incredible.
And sorry, can I ask a follow-up question of being the best? I think a lot of people want to be the best, but they are lazy or somehow they just stop, they give up before they reach their best. Do you have any advice on kind of like bring the best of yourself based on your journey? It would be so inspiring to hear your own thoughts.
Right now, Sally, you're right. I remember one wise mentor, she told me, she said, you can never exceed your own ambition. Where you aim really matters. If you aim 100, you may land 80, versus someone, if they aim 50, even if they can achieve 80, exactly same as you, but they stop at 50. So you're always a little step ahead. Now, aiming, I honestly never aimed to be the corporate, at the senior level. That was not my dream. My dream is always aiming to be the best for what I do, because that's just a personal satisfaction. And then I always want to be the next level because it's reachable.
Yeah.
And I say, okay, I want to be the next level. Then I want to be the next level. Then before you know that, when you look back, you say, well, you've got a lot accomplished, right? But then when you look ahead, you say, well, I'm still not satisfied because there's so many next level that you can do. So I'm not sure if it's a good thing for people. Sometimes I look at my friends and they're extremely happy and content of where they are. And I think that's a blessing too. It's just people measure their achievement and happiness differently.
Yes, so inspiring. Yeah, totally.
Yeah, excellent. So I know right now you are actually based in Amsterdam, and then you have a obviously global role in the European headquarters of US multinational. And in what ways has been Chinese being an advantage for your career progression? Or let's say in other ways, how being a Chinese helped you bring more values to the company you have worked with?
It's a very good and thought-provoking question. Immediately came to mind two things. And I remember when I was in Europe, and then when I was moved to the US, many people came to me to say, well, do you want to be a mentor, or do you want to be a coach for your fellow female professionals? Well, yeah, of course, but why or why not? Why is it such an important thing? And then I realized there's a lot of, in Western culture, there's a lot of historical or social imposed idea that there's so much you can do as a woman. There's just only so much you can do as a mom. I never had the sense when I was in China, honestly. You guys can relate, right? I mean, woman is as important as men. I never thought it never occurred to me, at least, like I was going to achieve less. As a matter of fact, from what I see with my peers, from my own family, my mom is always the more dominant one. From my peers, like my classmates, oftentimes girls excel boys a little bit more. So I always thought we can do more. So it never occurred to me, but I realized there's a culture difference. And one day I was conversing with a Russian colleague of mine, and she said the same. She said, in Russia, I never was a minority in finance domain, for example. There's more women in finance field than men. And I would say more or less the same was from what I grew up in China, what I saw. But when I moved in the US, when people sought me out, they say, "Wow, you really represent the minority." I was like, "Why is a minority?" So I think this social and cultural imposed idea did not exist. That's a one major achievement, because early on was thought like where you put your measure of excellence, right? I never thought I could achieve less. Is number one. So I think being a Chinese really matters. Number two is the humbleness. I didn't grow up with a gold spoon in your mouth like many of us, right? You didn't take things for granted. If you want something, there's only one way. You work really hard for it. So that's what life is in my way. So I didn't think like moving so many times was hard. Roll up the sleeve and work through 2-3 a.m. was hard. And it's part of life. It's what it takes. So I never complain and relate to people, right?
Exactly. I actually now reached, now in my life, I actually feel like it's a blessing. I actually was born in a small village in Henan province, because that kind of background really inject that essence, the drive, and then that kind of, I got to, the survive mode. You got to, wherever you go, you're really, really grateful for that opportunity, and then you try your best. I think I right now really, I really felt what you just said. It's a blessing, that humbleness. You're always wanting to be better. You want it to be better, and then it's kind of game with yourself because of where you come from.
No, but so far you touched one thing I think this is really important, is the gratitude. Like, so because we don't take things for granted, and then everything that comes to us, we're like, wow, thank you so much, right? I say thank you a lot. I bet you do the same. I think thank you a lot, and I genuinely mean that. It's not just a form of politeness. Because I appreciate every helping hand, every opportunity, every journey, every project.
Yeah.
And I feel it's truly a blessing, and I feel like if not for the people who tendered an advice, a helping hand, we were not able to achieve so much. So it's a gratitude that also makes people happy, I guess.
It is definitely.
Yes, and just want to add on, it's my first time to actually meet you, Xuyan, and I'm so happy to meet you, because now I already feel your authentic self, even it's my first time, and I think being authentic is so important as well. And that's why you are on the top, because I think people are just attracted by you, by your authentic self. So yes, so I'm very happy to meet you today.
No, what a nice compliment. Thanks, Ellie.
Definitely.
So if I may ask you our third question, so I know that you have two children, 8 years old and 10 years old. They must be very hyper. So I wonder how motherhood has changed your approach to business. Yes, I would love to hear your thoughts.
Now looking back, if I were able to give some of young moms or expecting moms advice, while I was working, I felt guilty when I got pregnant. I felt as if I would be taking time away from work. Then I'm not as good of a worker as I need to be, as I expect myself to be. And I was agonizing. I was hiding the fact that I was pregnant. I only revealed when I couldn't hide it anymore. Then at the second pregnancy, I nearly meltdown, because it was if I were to do it all one more time, I would not. I would really take pride of the fact that I can. Being a mom doesn't mean that I will give less in the long run. It probably means that I could give less in the short run. I would have taken better care of myself, my children, and knowing when you spread the time enough, not only focus on the 2, 3, 4 months, spread the time enough, you become a better professional. And I really mean this. And now, for example, if some of my team members or colleagues, they are expecting mom, I notice some of the anxiety they're going through. I said, just no, just to enjoy it. Motherhood is such a blessing, and it goes so quickly. So this is number one advice I would give. And second, being a mom makes me more efficient, like choiceful. Because there's so much you can do in life, right? You can spend your life just doing a dish, cook a very wonderful meal, or take care of the children, and it's nonstop, as we know. And you can devote 24 hours to do work. And then you, at a certain point in time, just can't do it all. Like a single, you can say, okay, well, if I work longer, I work longer. But when you have a family, when you sometimes at a certain point in time, we will have elderly that we have to take care of, though, so there's so many things that you have to juggle at all times in life. You just have to be choiceful and make peace of your own choice. So, for example, me as with my husband, every time step along the way, we moved so much. Every step along the way, we have to pause and to say, is this best for the family? And if it's yes, then we make a family decision, we go. If it's not, we actually pass along many opportunities along the way just because it's not the best for the family. And at work also, at times I have to block my calendar to say I have to eat lunch with my family, I have to eat dinner with my family. Do I consistently do and follow through? No. But at least it's a choice. I say, okay, through my day, I prioritize those 1 or 2 hours with my family. At the very beginning, I feel guilty because I could have, even squeezed this couple hours to do work. But over the long run, I feel I'm better myself, I'm better with my family, and I'm not giving less to the work that I feel proud of. So I think that's an important lesson for me personally.
It's amazing. Well, it's definitely, I think, I don't know who said this, but says mom is actually the best multitaskers in the world. And then I think, it definitely forces us to prioritize. And I think that's actually a skill and so important at work. You can be very, very busy, but not productive.
Yeah.
And I think the fact of, feel guilty and all the emotions you had been through during your 2 pregnancy. And then that experience now actually beneficial is because for you being a leader is you can actually comforting your team members when they're going through this. And I think that's a way of giving back. And I think that's really, I think that's one aspect of authentic. And I was actually really happy you start with, you feel very guilty because I think all of us feel guilty, and I was so glad actually you started on that because you really make all of mom. That's the thing is we make each other feel normal. All the feelings we went through doesn't matter how big, how high role you are in business, how big the business you are. We are actually human beings, and being a mom of young children, it is nothing different from one household to the other. Like when you were moving, we actually last year, 2019, me and my husband, we actually moved to China, to Guizhou for a year, just to let our children to learn the Chinese and everything. But unfortunately, we have to move back because of pandemic and everything. But it's quite exciting. We also seem like you're making decisions as a family. I think that's once you start a family, that's the situation you have. It's sense of responsibility. So I'm just really glad.
Yeah, but talking about the role model, you're right. And sometimes the more that you talk, the more that you realize actually, one, you're not alone, and second, you can survive this. You can be accomplished woman, both being a mom and being professional, and it can be done. And so many people have done it, and we're not singular. And
yeah,
more real example that you see, the more that you feel, well, actually, I can.
Yes, yeah. I think that's why women empower women. We got
Yes.
continue doing this.
I agree.
Yeah, right. I think, Suyan, you already touched it a bit, but do you have anything to add in terms of any advice to Chinese women or any woman who want to succeed in business as well as have a fulfilling family life?
At a certain point in time, I think we've got to have a support system. Yes, I have to acknowledge and wanting it at all times to be successful, to be a successful mom, to be a successful professional, to be a successful wife, to be a successful daughter. It takes a lot, and many of us who have a high standard and they say, well, I need to be successful in every aspect. So it cannot do it alone. You cannot do it alone all times. So I find it's first of all, like don't don't narrow our time spent only a year or 6 months or 2 years to say, well, during this short period of time I have to be everything for everyone. And I think you've got to say, okay, when my children are small, I probably give them more. When they're independent, I can give more to work. When my family become elder parents, I need to take care of them, I give them more. So over the course of life, the evens out, right? So I think like have enlarged the time span to measure your success is really important, because otherwise we compress, we're like, wait, I'm not doing anything well.
I know. I think we're just, when we are in the middle, we just so lock ourselves, just say, okay, right now, we have young children, and then that's it. Our career is collapsed and everything. I think it's just, as you mentioned, it's so important to have a holistic view of it. This is a life journey of, what value we can bring to the business, what value we can bring to the family. It really is a matter of our own feeling of it, but it's very important to actually have a long-term view, I think.
Right. And second is, as I grow older, at the very beginning, I mentioned to you, my only singular measure of success is to do best of what I do, and that was very binary. And I find all the external stimulus is to say, well, you're doing great, you're doing great. If I don't get that, I feel down and I feel not worthy. Then I started wondering like why that was, right? What was truly motivating me? This thing stops at a certain point in time, or it continues for life? And then if it continues for life, that just means you're relentlessly always pursuing the next thing. Then are you ever be happy? Like what's the end? And so as I grow older and also ask more soul searching questions, and I realize everyone has an inner why. Like we just need to be clear of what's my inner compass is motivating me, right? And if I know that why, if I'm convinced of that why very clearly, then everything else is noise. If people like it, don't like it. If I like it, don't like it, it's fine, because I know what's guiding me. And it took some many years to get there. Like for example, right now my why is I want to make a positive impact to the little sphere that I'm influencing. If it's at work, it's at home, it's my community. If I have this inner compass, if I'm successful or not with a career, if I'm successful or not with my community, with my family, I know this is what guiding me. Not because of so and so says so, not because I cannot accomplish the other thing that the other people think is more important. I know what's important for me, and I think have this clarity in life also helped me. And I only find this clarity maybe in the last 2-3 years. And it's a journey, and I think it's a sign of maturity over time. But this clarity guides me better in every decision that now I'm making, and in every big or small, and every step of choices I'm making. So I'm glad I find it. I'm sure it's gonna change over time also, right? For now it is what it is, and I think it's important for us as a very either professional family, because sometimes we say I want to be a real good time mom, that's a measure of success, but sometimes you really long for I want to be a professional, vice versa. And not because you want to be a great mom, therefore you feel bad that you're not a good professional, because it's a choice. And if you're so convinced of your choice and measure of success and happiness, and then everything is noise. You say, I made a conscious choice. I want to do this. Everything else, I'm gonna. It's okay.
I have to say this is so important for all the moms, moms who are actually going to watch, who are watching the recording. And it's not easy actually it takes time to find your inner compass, to find your mission. And then, but you have to start somewhere. You have to start asking yourself certain questions. But just be patient. I think once you actually found it, you will know it. And it's so important because it really eliminates all the noise within your brain and then save you so much emotional energy, and which is actually drain a lot of our physical energy out during the daily basis. So I urge everyone out there, spend some quality time with yourself to find that. Thank you very much, Xiang. That's really a good advice. So really reached our last question, which is what mantra or one sentence or one phrase you say when things get into really tough?
Learn, never stop learning. And I say this is, it's not from an educational sense of learning. Is every situation, good or bad, there's always good things out of it because you learn, you become a more knowledgeable person.
Yeah.
Even when I was in the mud, like even was like down deep valley of my morale, there's something when I reflect upon that's just certain moment that when I learn the most. I learned to get in touch my resilience, understand what triggers my negative emotions and whatnot.
Yeah.
There's a situation to be taken as an opportunity for self-discovery. So whatever that is, good, bad, okay.
Yeah.
When you pause and think, you say, "Well, I got something. I got one or two nuggets out of thing. Then it's worth it." And
Yeah.
then
It's
keep moving on.
excellent. It's a great opportunity to have, to great attitude to have towards life. Just like Deepak Chopra. I don't know whether you read his book. Seems you're very soulful. You're really on your own soul journey. He says every drama, every negative experience, we see it as negative. If we actually view them as teachers, we always say when we pray, we say, "Oh, can I have a guide? Can I have the universe guide me?" Actually, all these experience in our life, we really dreadful. They are actually, if we see them as teachers, as guidance, and that's it's a very good attitude. Like Xiyang was saying, it's great attitude to have towards life, and then we really can learn a lot of things. So I will definitely add that on my collection of mantra and motivational list, so that I will remind myself to never stop learning, never stop seeing everything as opportunity to grow.
Yeah, sometimes I tell my colleagues, I said, I'm happy with my job because it's a paid training. And it's really true, right? They pay you to learn so many things, and why not? It's fantastic.
I know, exactly. I think that's what obviously companies and big corporates, that's what one of their purpose in the universe, isn't it? To actually give educations to us and make the world a better place. So wonderful. Thank you very much, Xuyang. And then I really, really enjoyed it and feel more and more actually connected with you, even this is the first time meeting you.
No, thank you for having me. And those are very good questions. I have to really think hard before I answer those questions. But hopefully that you provide a very fantastic forum for all the moms experience our struggles, our learnings, our words of wisdom to each other. I'm personally also benefiting from your prior series that you looked at them. So thank you very much for providing such a platform for all of us.
Excellent.
Thank you. I will just quickly wrap up before we all go to do our own things. So thank you for those who are joining us today. If you like this interview, please do share it with your friends, networks. Please spread the positivity to more people so we all benefit from the wisdom of Xuyang today. And do come back. We'll have more exciting speakers throughout the year. And we hope to see you soon in person in 2021. Stay safe and Happy New Year. Thank you.
Happy New Year.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Bye.